sometimes with people you bring up a bad memory from us, and it backfires in your face, and it does happen. And you got to touch around those kind of situations. I wouldn't go to the door saying, "Hey, I know I researched. You had like 20 trouble calls because your phone didn't work." You don't want to go that elaborate into it, but you want to at least let them know that you know how many boxes they might have or they might have had. Another thing that's common, the reason why I look up the amount of boxes they have, and I'll show you how to do that again, is let's say they tell me, I see in the research they only have 2 boxes of us. I come to the house, I'm inside the house, like we have 8 TVs now. And I'll say, "Mr. Customer, when you had us last time, how many TVs do you have?" "Oh, I had at least around 6. I was like, the disconnection date says 2008. "Yeah, just out of curiosity, did you have a coax cable going to the back of your TVs other than those 2 boxes?" And they go, "Yeah." This is in response to when they're telling me Verizon's picture quality is 10 times better, they have on-demand menus, they have a guide, they have this. You haven't even seen our new digital service where every TV has a box just like Verizon. You get the same picture quality, and I bring up PC Richards on every time, which you all should. Tell them, "Listen, you probably bought your TVs at PC Richards and you saw our picture quality. You bought it from the last couple of years." And right there and then, you nail it. And it's a done deal. Because at that point, they have nothing to do. I don't get stopped by picture quality anymore. When I first started, it was an issue, I think, and as time's gone, that shouldn't be a reject for you guys. At least when you're sitting down with us right at the door, you might get the quick, "Oh, your picture quality stinks, close the door in case." That's going to happen. But if you're in a house and you could at least explain this, and if you know they only had 2 boxes and you know the amount of equipment they have, it's a home run. And you guys, it's done. Another thing we need to look at is if, let's say, you go to products and promos and it says multiple DVRs. Let's say this says 4 or 5 DVRs. And they're like, "Yeah, when I was with you last time, the cost was astronomical. I went to Verizon, it was so much cheaper." I'll tell the customer, "Well, yeah, you went to their multi-room DVR service, where every DVR, is connected throughout the house. We have something equivalent to that now. It's called DVR Plus, and it's better." And I tell them the reasons why. Being able to record 4 shows at the same time. If the power goes out, it'll still be recorded. You start listing all the features. And not to mention, it saves you a ton of money. Instead of paying, whatever it was at the time, back then it was $9.95, and now it's $10.95 for a DVR. Instead of paying, $50 extra on your bill for DVRs, we managed to, bring your bill down just to, $11, even after the year that it's free. You're not going to experience what you went through the last time. And every TV will be connected to your DVR system. And you'll be able to watch what you record in one and watch it in another. At that point, I might bring up, the next step I'll bring up to close the deal is, do you have clocks on all your boxes? That should be coming up every time as soon as you start talking about the multi-room DVR too. Most of the time, I'd say about 50% of the time, customers are saying, "I don't." And you kind of laugh and say, "I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people really miss their clocks on their boxes, and that's why they come back to Optimum." And more times than not, they're like, "You know what, I really wish I had a clock at night in my bedroom because, I stumped my toe trying to get out to see what time it is. I was used to having that clock right under the box. Even when I'm watching TV shows, I don't know when it's going to end. I'm constantly looking for my cell phone or my watch. It became a force of habit to have a clock down there." And I was like, "Do you remember why Verizon, told you about that?" They were like, "Yeah, it was an energy-saving thing." And I kind of laughed. I'm like, "How much do you think a digital, clock on a box uses for energy?" It's a joke.
When they charge you for boxing so much.
Exactly. So, little things like that is why not anything you can find to give you an advantage, you need to do it. That's the bottom line. I have one more. Do I have time, Sam?
Yeah, let's continue. And when Pat's done with this last one, I'd like to open up the forum. Any of you who have used IDA, do you have any tips, thoughts, shortcuts that we could share? Be more than happy to take it from you. Or questions.
So this was also a Western.
This is great.
was for Mr. Patel. So we'll find his first, this was his wife. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. Now, he left in 2011, and I don't know if you guys will know this, Verizon's South Asian package doesn't have as many challenges on it in certain ones. There's certain stuff, I don't remember the exact ones. At the time, I kind of knew and I kind of spit them out. I knew that he had the South Asian package, and it's more expensive, that's the other thing. South Asian package, I mentioned it to him at the door. I asked him, hey, Mr. Customer, I noticed you had, Showtime, you had a couple boxes, you had HBO with us. Why'd you leave? And he goes, honestly, it was nothing with the service. I really liked it. It was strictly price. It drove me off. I proceeded to keep talking about the door, and it was raining that day, so I asked for entry a little bit quicker than normal, and he gave it to me. As soon as I got in the house, I noticed someone was on the phone, using the house phone, and the entire time I was there, I kept that in the back of my head. Someone's always using the house phone. It's like I hear the other person in the room always on the phone. Midway through the pitch, I asked him, do you guys call internationally a lot? And he goes, how did you guess? The other person was talking a different language, so it kind of tipped it off as well. I go, where do you call? He goes, I call India always. He goes, normally, between, and he's like, I use Skype, but he said something to me that stuck with me ever since. He goes, whenever you have a conversation on Skype, it's never a normal conversation. People are always focusing on things that they shouldn't focus on, like your hair doesn't look good today, or you might have gained weight since the last time. And he mentioned that to me, and I kind of started to laugh. I was like, it's true, I never thought of that. And he goes, you don't have a normal conversation with Skype. So he's like, I buy calling cards, and I call a lot to back home. And I was like, that's interesting. I was like, do you call, landlines and cell phones? He's like, yeah. I go, and this is what closed the deal. I was like, what if I can give you unlimited calling for the next 2 years? And the price was very close. If I remember correctly, we might have been $5 more expensive at the time. The minute I said that, his face lit up, and he was like, it's worth it. He goes, I spend about, and he told me, he's like, I spend about $15 to $20 a month on calling cards. If you can give me unlimited calling to India, I was like, we have a deal. And that was it, and that was the deal. It wasn't anything, he had no problem with service. The price was right there. Like I said, we were probably $5 more if I remember correctly. And it sealed the deal, just paying attention to that other person being on the phone, hearing it out, knowing that I did the research for the South Asian package, that he had it, so he's interested in it, so he has some kind of tie to, wherever country he came from. It helps.
He had to be spending more on calling cards than $15, $20.
That's what he said, I remember. It was something around that. So, and it helped close another deal. And the EDP was a big thing. Just knowing, not even to have to look it up and see, is India in the package. Just knowing that, certain countries you have to know, like China, India, those are unlimited for landline cell phones. For South America, you have Peru, you have Colombia, Chile, Brazil, those are in there just for landlines. Just knowing some of those, most European nations were covered on landlines. And being able to tell a customer right away gives you a lot of power. Not having the fumble through a flip book, and it goes back to what Sam's saying, that quick rebuttal can really make the difference between an average rep to a president's rep.
Excellent.
Great job, man.
Guys, you got any tricks of the trade? Anything you utilize SFA for, a shortcut, a method? Anything that could help your partner to the left and the right?
I always look at the last name.
What?
Look at the last name of the customer.
For what reason?
If they are Italian or they are like Eastern, Middle Eastern, last name tells a lot. You can offer them EDP, you can offer the international channels.
Okay.
Right out from the door.
You have a tip for IDA?
Not a question.